After the diplomatic row between India and Canada erupted in the wake of Canadian government alleging Indian agencies' role in the killing of Khalistan terrorist Hardeep Nijjar earlier this year, now 41 of Canadian diplomats have left India. India had raised the issue of parity in rank and strength with the Canadian side, and after much negotiations, it was decided that Canada will pull out about 41 diplomats back to its country. Three missions of Canada in India, they have also been shut because now they will have less human resource, and with the availability of diplomats that they have, they'll be barely able to operate the Delhi High Commission, that is processing almost entire administrative work and also issuing visa, processing application for forms on that. We know that India has already issued advisory to the Indians living in Canada. India has also stopped processing any visa application for Canadians who wish to come back to India or visit Indian cities. But Canada at the same time hasn't stopped application of visa for Canada, but they have escalated the issue of India's role in investigating of the entire killing, that they have put the blame on Indian agencies. India has maintained that they need to have more evidences in order to cooperate in the investigation, the entire investigation that is going on in the killing of Hardeep Nijjar. Meanwhile, with the entire episode unfolding in a very sour manner, the Canadian side has clearly stated its position that what it has done, it is not good for the people of the two countries, and that is going to put some strain on the bilateral relationship. The Canadian Prime Minister has clearly said that the Indian government for Justin Trudeau in remarks has said that government for making life as usual unbelievably difficult for millions of people in India and Canada. So he is trying to put the blame of the entire diplomatic escalation on India. Speaking in Ottawa, the Foreign Minister of Canada, she has also said that unilateral revocation of the diplomatic privileges and immunity is contrary to international law and a clear violation of Vienna Convention on diplomatic relations. Threatening to do so is unreasonably and escalatory. So this is what the Canadian side's story has been, that they are not only going against the diplomatic norms, but they are also in contradiction of the well laid out principles of Geneva Convention. Now after this escalation and 41 diplomats pulling out of India, US Department of State, they have also reacted, and they have said in a statement that the US State Department had said that we are concerned by the departure of Canadian diplomats from India in response to the Indian government's demand of Canada to significantly reduce its diplomatic presence in India. And they have further said that resolving differences require diplomats on the ground. We have urged the Indian government not to insist upon a reduction in Canada's diplomatic presence and to cooperate in the ongoing Canadian investigation. We expect India to uphold its obligation under the 1961 Vienna Convention on diplomatic relations, including with respect to privileges and immunities enjoyed by accredited members of Canada's diplomatic mission. So once US is also seems to be taking side with Canada by also urging Indian side to stop sending the Canadian diplomats back home, and also in a way invoking or reminding India of its obligation under Geneva Convention. We'll come back on that what kind of violation it could be, or what is the stated position in Geneva Convention under which India has in a way decided to send back so many diplomats. Now UK government has also reacted on the entire episode, and one of the FCDO spokesperson, that is Department of Canadian Diplomats from India, on the issue of departure of Canadian diplomats, they have said that resolving differences require communication and diplomats in respective capitals. We do not agree with the decisions taken by the Indian government that have resulted in a number of Canadian diplomats departing India. We continue to encourage India to engage with Canada on its independent investigation into the death of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Now, the UK has also, kind of reminded India of 1961 Vienna Convention's obligation, where they have said that we expect all states to uphold their obligation under the 1961 Vienna Convention on diplomatic relations. The unilateral removal of the privileges and immunities that provide for the safety and security of diplomats is not consistent with the principles or the effective functioning of the Vienna Convention. Now, what does the Vienna Convention says? That is most important thing that the world is trying to remind India. The Vienna Convention clearly states that 11.1 of the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relationship clearly says that the receiving state has the right to limit the size of diplomatic missions to what it considers reasonable and normal, having regard to circumstances and conditions in the receiving state and to the needs of the particular mission. Article 11.1 has been used in the past by other countries on many other occasions also. India has also said that it has conveyed Canada that in order to limit the size of its mission in New Delhi and Ottawa, only a specific number of diplomats as per parity would continue to enjoy diplomatic privileges and immunities. And India's decision to seek parity was conveyed to Canada around 1 month ago with a target implementation date of 10th October. This date was extended till 20th October and details and modalities of implementation were being worked out, including the list of Canadian diplomats who would continue to be accorded diplomatic immunities and privileges were being worked out in consultation with the Canadian side, and attempts by Canada to portray this as an arbitrary and overnight decision is factually inaccurate. So India had given Canada all the the listing of diplomatic numbers, all the number of diplomats who could enjoy the diplomatic privileges, and why India needs to bring down the number of diplomats present in India because of the rank and parity and the parity in rank and strength that India wished to have with Canada, and there is no violation as such under any norms of Vienna Convention. That is what the stated position of India has been, that under 1961 Vienna Convention, a receiving state is not mandatorily obliged to have as many diplomats as per the wishes of the sending state. So the receiving state has called for a diplomatic parity, and that is something that under obligation that Canadian side has to abide by. Now on the issue of Nijjar's killing, the entire episode which has soured the relationship between India and Canada, India has called once again continuously through the back channel diplomacy also that they are ready to cooperate in all the manner in the investigation of Nijjar's killing, provided Canadian side will cooperate and will extend or will give them some kind of proof or some kind of FIR that the Indian side can look into. But so far, even few days ago, until few days ago, there has not been a single substantial evidence that the Canadian side has provided to the Indian agencies or Indian government, FIR, or on what charges or on what ground they have concluded Indian agencies' role in the killing of Hardeep Nijjar. So the entire episode, which has gone bad in the bilateral relationship, which has actually brought one of the lowest point in the bilateral relationship of India and Canada, is not being substantiated by the Canadian government. So far, there has not been any evidence that Canadian side has put in the public domain, any intelligence input that the Canadian side has provided or shared with the Indian intelligence agencies or Indian government, and on what ground they are seeking cooperation on the investigation of Hardeep Nijjar, while they continue to go on the rhetorical way of blaming India for the killing of Hardeep Nijjar and also invoking Vienna Convention under various obligations. There has to be some reasonable argument that should come from the Canadian side. That is what the Indian stand has been, that provides some evidence, some proof, some substantial ground or FIR or legal documents, and on that basis we will look into the matter that you have been alleging on our agency's role. So with all the investigation ongoing, the bilateral relations strain is clearly going to impact and affect thousands of families who have been going back and forth amidst all this crisis and who have been living partly in Canada and partly in various states of India. Their visa processing, their coming and going is going to be clearly impacted, and it is gradually going to seep into other dimensions of a bilateral relationship as well.
The actions that the government of India took this week are themselves contrary to international law. The government of India decided to unilaterally revoke the diplomatic immunity of 40 Canadian diplomats in India. This is a violation of the Vienna Convention governing diplomacy. This is them choosing to contravene a very fundamental principle of international law and diplomacy.